Hey there, it's Seb Fry here with another exciting episode of It's a Seb Show. Well, hey, have you heard the clickbait, or have you seen the clickbait anyway, about how searches for real estate crash are up by 2,459% or whatever it is? Yeah, there's a lot of people talking about like a bubble bursting and the real estate market going kaboom again, like it did in 2007, 2008 timeframe. And everybody can remember that. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people certainly can remember it. I sure do. Yeah, that was a crazy time, a really horrible, bad time for many people in many, many ways. And obviously, people are really worried about history repeating itself. And guess what? History will repeat itself at some point. At some point, there will be a big real estate crash, right? I mean, there was like in the Great Depression, real estate crashed. And, we've had, the dot-com era. There was a little crash in there, right? So like, there are, like repeated crashes and booms. And that's because that's how the system is sort of designed to work here in America. We like booms and busts. We don't like an even keel, right? That would be socialism or something if we were trying to just have like a really even, unexciting growth rate. We like having booms and busts, right? We like it, it creates opportunity for people, right? And that's all about America, right? Creating opportunity. We're the land of opportunity, and booms and busts certainly create that opportunity. So we're not going to see an end to booms and busts in the American economy. It's just a built-in feature. So buckle up and get ready for that ride there, kids. But the question is are we going to see a real estate crash now, like in the next few years, like in 2021 or 2022? Are we going to see that crash? Everybody wants to know. Well, I think probably not going to see a crash in 2021, but let me just put a little asterisk there and tell you that, listen, anything could happen. Like, did you think COVID was going to happen last year? Like in, beginning of January, right? You heard a little, off in China, they were having this COVID thing, but we've heard about, these kind of viruses before in Asia, right? Did we think it was going to sweep the whole world and debilitate and destroy everything? No, we didn't think that, right? I mean, it's kind of was, I'm sure some people thought that, right? But I think the average person was not expecting what happened with COVID to actually happen. And what's more, I don't think people were expecting that the COVID, crisis would result in a booming real estate market. Whoever would have thought of that? No one would have thought of that. Everyone was thinking, oh my goodness, this is going to be it. We're going to have a crash in the real estate market now because of COVID, right? So, unexpected things can happen. So don't let me tell you that for sure there's not going to be a real estate crash in the greater San Francisco Bay Area in 2021, because of course, anything can happen. I don't really know. But based on what's happening right now, I can tell you, I do not think that there is going to be a real estate crash in 2021 here in the greater San Francisco Bay Area, Northern California, or even for that matter, the rest of the country. And here's the reason why, because everywhere you look, all across the country, what do you have? You have a short supply. There's a very low supply of homes right now. In large parts of the Bay Area, there might be a 3-week supply. That's pretty common. I heard there's a little more supply now. Maybe it's up to 4 weeks of supply. I don't really know. I don't have the numbers offhand, but anecdotally, I know from being out there in the field, working with buyers, that there really is nothing to choose from, and everything that does come up goes very, very quickly. So that points to a very tight supply. I mean, when you're getting 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 offers on every home, just about, not every home, but like 75, 80, 90% of homes, I don't know the number, but most homes are getting multiple offers because there is very short supply. And guess what else? There's very strong demand. Where's all this demand coming from, you say? Well, part of it's coming from low interest rates. Okay, there's a lot of that. Now, a lot of people are also moving now that we have the ability for many people to work from home. They're now looking to get bigger and better homes, maybe a little bit further out. So we're seeing maybe some areas we're having, people leave, like higher priced areas like San Francisco, maybe, San Jose, maybe, and they are moving out to, the suburbs, maybe, right? Like Tahoe is booming, Santa Cruz is booming, Napa and Sonoma booming, right? A lot of these areas are booming. But interestingly enough, I just read the other day that the 2 highest performing markets in the whole entire United States, right? The top 50 markets in terms of price growth are, guess what? San Francisco and San Jose. It's amazing, right? I mean, we still have, even though we have these people supposedly leaving these denser areas, those markets are in fact some of these strongest, the actual 2 strongest real estate markets in the entire USA, despite the fact that people are supposedly leaving the cities in California and supposedly on the way down. I also saw the other day that California has a $25 billion budget surplus. So when I read the tea leaves, The tea leaves are telling me that we still have very low supply and very strong demand and very low interest rates at the same time. And then when you factor in this whole talk about the Joe Biden $2.5 trillion stimulus plan that's coming, when we hear about Congress working to get rid of that SALT cap, the state and local tax deduction, which really is stuck at two Bay Area homeowners, when we hear about, like the baby boomers who are unfortunately now passing away in some number and or otherwise transferring their real estate around, this could in fact be the beginning of a mega cycle. We could actually be seeing a lot more jumps up in home values coming down the road. Listen, I don't know, right? But I think actually that if there's probably a risk out there right now, if I had to say, the risk is that the prices are going to go up and up and up, right? You hear about inflation, right? There's a lot of talk about inflation, like structural inflation returning with all this borrowing that's been going on and flooding the market. You've heard lots of talk about how like prices for many, many things are up, especially like lumber and building materials, right? So there's a lot of upward pressure on prices right now. And I don't really see a lot of downward pressure on prices because supply remains so very, very tight and demand remains so very, very strong. So, is there going to be a great real estate crash in 2021? I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say no, I don't think so. Unless some crazy, crazy thing happens, some black swan event comes in, I don't really see it happening again in 2021. Maybe not even 2022. If this Biden stimulus plan comes along, we could be entering a very robust business cycle where we're going to see increasing prices, increasing jobs, increasing wages for several years to come. So, is it the best time to buy a house right now? I'm working with some clients who are asking that very question, like, good God, I mean, like the market is so tight, prices are surging upwards, or so it seems. Is this really the best time to buy a home right now? Well, I can tell you what, there's always two good times to buy a house. One is 20 years ago. Two is today. You know what they say about real estate? Don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait. All right, that's it. That's my thoughts on is there going to be a crash in the greater San Francisco Bay Area in 2021. If you were wondering what Seb is thinking, now you know. But I'm curious to know, what are you thinking? What do you think about that? Do me a favor. Give me a comment, man. I would love a comment. That comment would be fantastic. Or even like a like, give me a thumbs up. That would be incredible. And I would be honored if you would share this with somebody who is wondering, will there be a big real estate crash coming up here in 2021 or maybe 2022? I would love that. And hey, do me a favor. This would be crazy. Bing! Click that little subscribe button right there and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would really love that. All right, that's it for this episode of It's a Seb Show. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. But don't worry, hey, calm down. I'll have another episode up again before too long.